Hey, good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, and we are back again with Coffee with PC. We've been out of town for a couple of weeks. We got in yesterday about midday. By the way, that was a good call. Usually you come in, typically what we do is drive all day to get home, and then you're rushing in. But we got in a little bit earlier yesterday, so we had some time to kind of do some chores and errands and hit the ground running today, Wednesday. So I wanted to check in with you. One of the first things I'm going to be doing this morning, I've got my coffee, of course, in my cup here. Really enjoying this after being on the road for a couple of weeks, a little over 2 weeks, and having lots and lots of bad hotel coffee. I don't even know. Those little single cup with the pack, just awful stuff. It was nice to get home and grind up some fresh J. Brooks dark roast from that Memphis roaster that Price and I like a lot. Ground it up this morning, did a little pour over, and quite enjoying a nice cup of coffee to get my work week, even though it's the middle of the week, going. But it's good to be back. We looked at the odometer when we came in. Actually, we were a little bit up the road, not quite all the way home, and total trip over 4,300 miles of driving. We went basically up to Connecticut was our first stop. Several days to get there to spend time with Heather and Bill and Ian and his wife Mava. We celebrated their wedding. They were married previously, but celebrated with their family up there. And then we went on up into New Hampshire for a few days and got all the way up to Maine. Actually, in Maine, turned onto US 1. And I thought, wow, I live on this road. I mean, a long way from here, but I live on US 1. We didn't get to the north end of US 1. We were kind of in the southern tip of Maine, along the coast there, just north of New Hampshire, that short New Hampshire coast. But nonetheless, we were on US 1 in Maine. We've been to the southern end of US 1 in Key West. Maybe one day we'll make it back to the northern end of US 1. So a lot of miles in the car, a lot of time in hotels, and it's good to be back. One of the things when you drive that far that's helpful to have is some directions. You probably know that. We knew where we were going in Franklin, Connecticut, where Heather and Bill had rented an Airbnb, a house for kind of everybody to hang out together for the festivities. Her family, Ian and Mava, us there, and so what do? We have handy GPS on our phone. Put in the address and follow along. It's very helpful. We've never been there before, never traveled to that part of Connecticut. Saw some cool things along the way. Helped us avoid traffic tie-ups. There's a lot in the Northeast corridor. When you first plug in the map, what does it have you doing? It has you going up, and you're going on 95, basically from Miami all the way up. And if you follow that route, you're going to go through DC, you're going to go through Baltimore, you're going to go through Philadelphia, you're going to go through New York City. And so we said we don't necessarily want to go 95 through all of those big cities. So we swung out a little wide, and every step of the way the GPS would tell us how to get there, which turns to take. Directions, a map, very important. And so I say that because we started before we left, a few weeks before we left, the book of Acts together as a church. And what we're trying to do in this book of Acts is to see it as the GPS, if you will, for us as Christians, for us as the Church of Jesus Christ. We get that first-hand look into the earliest days of church history, right after Jesus ascends into heaven. And what does he tell the disciples there in Acts 1:8? To be his witnesses. We'll receive power, and we will be his witnesses to Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. And so really it's the roadmap for us of how we are supposed to live as Christians, what our role is as the church. And then we have this book that unfolds this history of the earliest church, the earliest Christians living out that commission and how they did it. It's just like kind of the GPS here. They ran into some roadblocks, and they had to learn ways around them. They ran into some difficulty, and they needed direction. And so what we're doing as we go through that book is to try to say what in that book is applicable for us today, 2,000 years later. There are some principles in that book, in the expression of Christianity among the earliest followers of Jesus, that we want to take and we want to live out. And so that's why we're doing it. I hope you're going to be a part of that with us as we continue in that. Hey, let me give a big thanks to the two gentlemen that came in the last couple of Sundays while I was out. The first Sunday was Dr. Gary Johnson who came in, and if you were here, you know it was he and his wife Joyce's 40th wedding anniversary that Sunday, August 8th, that he was here. And so I'm so grateful that even on his anniversary, he was willing, I should say, to come down. Like you were the treat for his anniversary. Yes, and I understand our church did some very kind things for him to honor he and his wife. But he came, and then last week, thanks to my friend Al Fernandez, our Southeast Regional Consultant and Catalyst with the Florida Baptist Convention. Respect him a lot. He's been a great encouragement to me personally and really to our churches in the Keys. I don't know how much he told you about his role, but he has Palm Beach County, Broward County, Miami-Dade County, and Monroe County. So what you've got is three big populous areas with lots of churches. Miami-Dade, if Gary didn't mention this, over 400 churches in the Miami Baptist Association that Gary runs, and then Broward and West Palm, think about that. And we have all of 10 churches here in the Keys. And you know what? Al has always been gracious, and he's involved us, and he's been here with us every chance he gets. And so I'm appreciative of that and his encouragement to me, kind of the small church pastor of the little town, of the smallest of the areas that he oversees, and our state convention, and through his leadership and his partnership has been great. So I'm appreciative for them walking through the last 2 weeks with you guys, and I'm looking forward to being with everyone on this Sunday. So anyway, just a real brief check-in. I haven't really got my feet under me. I literally, this is the first thing I've done. I walked into the office. I'm like, I need to make sure I get coffee with PC since I've missed the last two. So just wanted to say a quick, hey, we're home. Glad to be home. We're home safely, 4,300 miles later, and looking forward to getting back to the business of checking the roadmap, of looking into God's Word, particularly the expression of it in the book of Acts, that early church, and seeing what God will show us and how He'll lead us and direct us as we seek to be His people. I know a little shorter than normal, but I'm going to go finish this coffee. I have a lot to do to catch up and get back in the swing of things for this week and back into the saddle, as it were, for Church World now that we're back. So look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Hope you'll be with us, 9 o'clock worship. If not, we'll be online as usual, and we'll be in Acts chapter 3. So we'll see you then. Take care. Hope your Wednesday is a great one. See you, everybody.